Okay, so hello everybody and welcome to the announcement, the quite big announcement of today. So, it's the GP4 Offline Championship tiering system revamp. Part 1 out of 2 parts. So, in this first part, I will give out information what's happening between the different series. Uh, we focus on the general plan of what we are trying to achieve with this. But most of the announcement focuses on the tiers that are hosted by me. And then there will be part 2 later. That will be more about what's happening with GP2 and DTM, and that will be posted by Dioka, aka Florian, later on. I have I don't know when, but I kind of expect his announcements to be for happening next season, maybe. I'm not exactly sure, but he will inform you when it's time. So, but everything that is announced today will start taking place in the 2021 season. Some of these changes can be still reverted, or we can add more things. Uh, when we have the discussion stream and we will be able to discuss all of these things. So let's see if what kind of ideas you will have for this at that point, and we can do some quick changes. Anyway, so the general plan. GP4 F1 Championship has always been mainly focused around F1 and getting into F1, and it certainly will be the same in the future, with but the focus of this revamp is to make the other series viable to race for a long time, even if somebody doesn't join F1 or doesn't want to join F1. And I want the pathway to F1 to not be just that you go from BTCC to FE, then you go to DTM and CP2 and so on, so on. I don't think we should do that or keep doing that. I want there to be more variation between the career paths of different drivers, and I want also that there will be drivers that will just have an career in FE, for example, winning multiple races, multiple championship in that, for example, and maybe then decide that maybe now it's the time to try F1. And yeah, so the first big change here is that we will no longer address the different series as tiers. So before we used that F1 is the top class. Well, that stays, but for example, GP2 was tier 2, DTM was tier 3, FE tier 4, BTCC tier 5. So that will be completely scrapped. We will address the series as only with their names. And in regards of the signups, this means that the different series are way closer to each other. Meaning that if you like racing in Formula E instead of DTM, now if you do so, it will not hurt your value in the signups because they winning a championship in both tiers are kind of the same thing. We will instead look at your actual performance in the tier and not just that this guy won the DTM championship, so he's the better than this guy who won the FE. So instead, now if you absolutely dominate FE, it will be better than if you just about won DTM without winning any races, for example. Um, GP2 will stay as the series, which main goal is to bump new drivers into F1, but with experienced drivers, if you have multiple successful seasons other places, you will still be able to join F1 if you want, and it's a good way to do so. And yeah, uh, speaking of this, value of having 2 good seasons in a row will be increased. For example, if you fight for FE Championship twice in a row, same for DTM or GP2 even. Usually, if you have fought for the GP2 Championship, you will probably be in F1 anyway, unless you mess up your sign-up choices in the actual F1 sign-ups. That happens often. But yeah, it will give you a bigger advantage if you have 2 or even 3 great seasons in the other series in a row. So finishing first and 10 second in DTM, you're probably gaining an F1 seat somewhere if you just want to, and not try to beat a top driver who's winning everything in F1. Just be smart with your choices in the future, please. Also, we will be evaluating the amount of people signing up into all of the series, and if I see that we need a new entry-level series, which will have a main focus of only having new drivers, that series will be Formula Renault, since Formula 3 isn't modded into GP4. I would also think about using mods for, it was Formula Toyota series, and there's also Formula BMW and Formula Abarth, and all of those will be viable choices. So this isn't the final of what the next series will be. I do have a new host ready for whenever we need a new series. I know who it is. I have promised that as long as he is available, he will be able to host a new series. I will not tell who he is. He can reveal himself if he wants to, but yeah. And currently, the plan is to get the new rookies spread out across the different series, and not all of them bunching up in BTCC. I don't, as long as we don't get that many new people, like what happened in some seasons ago when there suddenly was 30 new people. But now if there's not that many new people, I don't see any need of why all of the new drivers should be in BTCC. So, and in lower down I will show what I mean by it, and how everybody will be getting more spread out across the different series. And next I will tell changes on the series. Of course, I haven't put anything for GP2 or DTM, because that's going to be something that Flow will tell you. So, and here's the first big one. The 2020 season will be the final season for BTCC. So this means BTCC is gone after this year. I personally, I kind of never liked BTCC, the idea of it, and now that I've been hosting it for the moment, I don't think the cars are suitable for GP4 in any way. So, and this is the big one. BTCC will be replaced by a new fantasy open wheel series that is based on the 2000s Champ Car and IndyCar car sets. And proper name for the series I haven't decided yet, but first proposal, GP4OC World Champ Car. I think that sounds kind of nice. I don't know about you. And this series mainly is for experienced drivers that want to have a longer career before or after racing in F1. but also we will have a rookie involvement because the two weakest teams in this series can only sign up rookies as long as rookies have signed up. If there isn't rookies that have signed up, then they will be able to sign experienced drivers. There will be a mix of manufacturer involvement, though most teams will be privateers or IndyCar teams. Me and Evan are making an entry list, and when we have an proper entry list, the signups will begin for this. And there will be car-based performance, meaning that you can have multiple seasons of success easily here if you just pick the right teams. And season to season, when the seasons change, it will use a similar fantasy system as the F1 is using, except I have made that the maximum gaps between the teams are smaller, so the grid will be most of the times, usually the grid will be closer than what it is in F1. And on the first signups for this series, the pecking order of the teams will be revealed, so that if somebody wants to join, you will know which teams will be the best for you. So if you are a top driver in another series, then you might want to try to get an top team here as well. But yeah, it will run 5 races in the United States, 4 races in Europe, and 3 races in Asia. With 80% race distance, with qualifying, I'm thinking maybe either one shot or just 30 minutes session. And I think that will be something we will talk about in the discussion stream. But yeah, that's all about that for now. It will be really exciting. I've tested a car set that works well with this and gives us good racing. And next up we will have Formula E, and this is something I wanted to do with this series, and now Formula E will switch to have car-based performance as well, but it will not use the F1 and the Champ Car system. And how the team-based performance works in Formula E is that the teams are split into 3 groups that can alter season to season. The teams that are in the same group are equal in performance, so you can pick from the same group. And this is a way to bring away nice to climb up in the same series. And so if you're a new driver and you want to race in Formula E specifically, you don't, now it will not hurt your way into F1 if you want to do that as well, but instead of having to join DTM, you can just first start in one of the lower teams in Formula E and climb your way up into the better teams and start winning. And these groups will be always revealed at the signups, because the new sign-up system for Formula E is that you will pick one team from each group. And yeah, speaking of which, the Formula E signups begin next Sunday, so you will know which teams are in which group. And there's some information about what the groups mean. Group 1 is the teams that fight for the usual wins and the championship. The best drivers get into these teams, so you will probably want to expect that the manufacturer teams are in Group 1. And yeah, so let's see what happens when we get to the signups. You will know what teams are in there. And Group 2 is the midfield. These teams, an occasional podium or maybe even a win is possible, but it will be very impressive to beat the Group 1 teams. And if you beat a Group 1 driver in a Group 2 car, you will definitely it will definitely improve your chances overall. And then we have Group 3, that's the backmarker teams, so-called backmarker teams. The gaps are quite close in the end. But these teams will most likely have the rookies in the series, and the rookies on their first season, of course, or just drivers that haven't yet found a way to get up. And with these teams, the aim is to score on points result occasionally. If doing well in these teams will be very impressive. And starting from 2022, the teams that are in FE can start changing, leaving, potentially joining other series, so on. Which means that, for example, there might be new manufacturer in FE, new privateer in FE, anything is possible. So it's going to be exciting times for FE as well. And then lastly we get into F1, so we announced everything we needed for F1 already, but there's some small things I'm going to put here. So the injury system, the controversial injury system. I'm going to say before I say anything about this, if the reaction is overwhelming in the discussion stream, or even today when this is announced, we can just straight on remove it. But here's my proposal for a better injury system, which is better and more convincing. So in this system, any injury can last for a maximum of 2 races. And if a big crash counts as an injury, it will be decided by me and a neutral person that will assist me in deciding. Missing races will not affect your season rating harmfully in any way. Actually, if you miss a race, it's going to be way better than if you get into the next race and just crash out, get a 0 rating. So yeah, you might even benefit from it. But you cannot decide yourself if your driver is injured. That will never happen again after what happened in Monaco 09. And a big notice here is that crashes that could cause injuries are extremely rare in modern cars. So even if this system gets in place, I don't expect it to be used often. This will just give the test driver some hope that maybe they could get a race or 2 in F1. And the next and the final thing today is that F1 in 2021 will start having end of season test. It will happen at the track that hosts the final race, so in 2021 it is Interlagos. This test will have the team's current test driver and any potential new driver that the team has signed, meaning that if, for example, if it will be in place for this season, that would mean that on one of the cars will, for example, Jake Galloway has signed to Ferrari, so if this end of season test will be in this season already, he will drive the Ferrari on the final test. But yeah, I think you understood the idea of this. So the test driver, and if a team has signed a new driver, they will drive the car. If a team didn't sign a new driver, they will only run their test driver on the test. But yeah, that's all for this. And tell me in the comments, tell me in Discord what you think, and yeah, see you all next time.